Yeah. So question was like what inspired you to like take over and
Yeah,
what I understood it is your attempt to save the Laravel certification. That is what I understood.
yeah. First goal was first goal was to save it, and second is to bring back the value it once had for everyone
Yeah.
involved.
How community driven certification benefits to Laravel community.
Yeah, community driven is obviously a very nice word. Huh? It's community driven, but what does it really mean? Well,
Who should take certification for Laravel or what is your target audience? I mean,
that's a good question because very often a point of discussion. Huh? Senior developers with a certain amount of experience always tell me, "Oh, I don't need it," which is probably true.
where should they find the syllabus for the exam?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a work in progress, but and it's a very good question. On our website on certificationforlaravel.com, if you go to the frequently asked questions,
what is the plan for future or we can say the year 2025?
we are planning to launch another exam tier called the artisan level exam, which will be a live coding challenges. So really practical, hands-on, get your
Yeah.
fingers dirty on the keyboard, a coding challenge.
We'll be able to pay in our local prices and we will have like PPP pricing for our country.
Yeah. Yeah, we've managed to find a system where we can do two things.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today on our Laravel Spotlight series, we have Jasper Williams, the director of certification for Laravel. So let him introduce himself.
Thank you, Punyapal. Thank you for having me on the call on your podcast. Yeah, my name is Jasper Williams. I am the fresh new director for certification for Laravel. I live in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, where currently it is raining cats and dogs. Typical summer in the Netherlands, I would say. My dog even didn't want to go outside this morning because of the rain. I am married. I have two daughters, and yeah, I have been involved in the Laravel community for the last 11 years. I am part
Hmm.
of the team that organizes Laracon EU. We have done for 11 years already, and this edition is planned for March 2026 in Amsterdam again, 2nd and 3rd of March. I think that's even a scoop that you might have. And I'm also involved in Laracon India, the other beautiful Laracon event we have. So yeah, that's me.
Hmm.
Knee deep in the Laravel community and loving it because it's a fantastic community to be in.
So from how many years you are in the Laravel community?
I think the first Laracon edition I was involved in was 2012. So already 12 years that I've been. Obviously, there was a gap with the COVID and where we did one online session, which was terrible. I would never want to do that again because, you know, the whole fun stuff about events is the live interaction, the fact that you can communicate with people, have a drink afterwards, you know,
Right.
yeah, but yeah, everybody's been in the same boat in that area, in that around that time. So yeah, 12 years, and
Yeah.
always from a commercial side. I'm not a developer myself. Last time I coded was in high school, and it was called Basic on a Commodore 64. So you can imagine how long ago that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, being around Laravel and the Laravel community for the last 12 years, I've grasped some of the ideas of what Laravel from a coding perspective is all about and what the beauty about the framework is, and also what some people find challenging. So yeah,
Hmm.
enjoying myself
Yeah.
thoroughly.
So what is the Laravel certification? Maybe people already know, but who doesn't know? I mean, for them.
Yeah. The original Laravel certification was started 8 years ago, 18, if I remember correctly, by two gentlemen who thought it would be a good idea, and I think they were correct, to have, if you're an ecosystem, doesn't matter which one, whether it's Laravel or Symfony or any of the other of you, and you want to mature your developers, there needs to be a way for them to benchmark their skills or their knowledge with an exam or like you do in university or like you do in school. So that was when certification for Laravel was set up, is to test your skills and to be able to do and pass an exam and call yourself a certified Laravel developer. Over time, things have obviously changed. Laravel grew tremendously from being a small frame, niche indie kind of framework to one of the largest. I think at the moment there's 1.3 million Laravel developers around the world, over 1.2 million websites running on Laravel or Laravel ecosystem products. So it was time for the certification to also mature. Unfortunately, the previous owners made a bit of a mess of things, and that led to a lot of complaints, that led to a lot of disappointed people taking the exam,
Yeah.
buying for the vouchers to take the exam, and there was an obvious decline of the certification and a bad name, resulting in the fact that Taylor Otwell himself, in the beginning of 2022, said, "I am revoking my endorsement of the certification program because it's not the quality and the standard that we want as Laravel." And I think at the time I was not involved, but from what I've heard, there was a very good reason to do that. What have we done? We have taken over the certification program in August last year, 2024, because we feel that a well-functioning certification program has a very important role in an ecosystem such as Laravel. Probably into it a little bit deeper in the next few questions, but really what we wanted to do is establish a certification program that has value for the community, that has value for potential employers or employers, and that has value for, let's say, companies and people outside of the ecosystem that are looking to have development done or apps developed by companies that either work with Laravel or hire Laravel staff. So yeah, big change since August 2024.
Yeah. So maybe you have already covered most of it, but like what inspired you to take over the Laravel certification?
I was approached about a little over a year ago, to help with revitalizing the certification program. And when I got involved, I saw what a mess it was. I told the owners, "Listen, I do not want to get involved with this. It needs to drastically change. This is not something that I want to connect my name to." And then they told me, "Well, we are thinking of either unplugging it and leaving it to die a slow death, or perhaps try and sell it." And then I said, "Well, if that's the case, then I'm interested to take it over." And what I wanted to do, and that was my vision, was to turn it into a community-driven certification
Mhm.
program. Because I feel that if you want to add value to a certification program, you need to involve the community to make sure that the exams and the questions that we ask are as close as possible to the practical use of Laravel in the day-to-day. Whether you
Right.
From multiple perspectives. So from the perspective of the developer who wants to learn and benchmark himself, but also from the perspective of the company owner or the agency owner who says, the Laravel documentation is a lot. We're not using everything on a daily basis, but it would be good to test if that, let's say, theoretical basic knowledge is there. I think even Taylor himself recently said the best way to learn coding is by opening your editor and shipping product, which is 100%
Yeah.
true. You will never become the top-notch developer by just memorizing the Laravel documentation. As in, it's the same in cricket. It's the same in any other sport. You need to practice to become the Laravel artisan that you want to be. But that
Mhm.
being said, without theoretical knowledge, you will never get there. The theoretical knowledge is the foundation of where you want to build from. And again, let me make the connection with university again. University is the same thing. You learn all the theoretics, you learn all the let's say book smart you become. And then when you go into the real world, that's where you learn the trade or where you become good. And this is the same for the Laravel certification. We're not saying, do the certification and you'll be a great developer. That's nonsense. What we do is we give you a tool, or that's at least what we're trying to achieve, give you a tool to benchmark yourself, and so that you can see, where am I in my journey? Is there gaps? Are there strengths and weaknesses in my knowledge that I could work on to become that artisan level exam or artisan level developer? And the same goes for existing developers that have passed an exam in the past, because the certification, when we took over in 2024, we said we don't want to leave all those people that have already passed the exam in the past We don't want to leave them in the cold. So what we've done is we've transferred everyone with an old certification to the new credentialing system, because their old certification was not valid anymore. The link was dead. They could not prove anymore they were certified. So free of charge, we moved them to the new credentialing platform, which a lot of people have already done. The former owners had decided that if you pass for the certification exam, it's for life. And we had this discussion internally, but also with the community. If you pass a certification, should it be for life? Because the Laravel framework is a living, developing thing. You know, every year in February, we have a new we're at 12 now. Next year will be 13. Your knowledge, once you've passed 6 years ago, when it was Laravel 9, okay, not a lot of breaking changes are coming these days, but still there are changes. How up to date is your certification if you've passed 5, 6, 7 years ago? So we encourage even senior developers to do the upgrade exam. If you want to test if you're still up to par with the current Laravel version, do the upgrade exam, and we'll have a nice offer next week, I think, to do it for a very limited amount of money. You can retest yourself. You will never lose your current certification, but you can upgrade to the new level, so to say. So yeah. I forgot what your question was. You know, that's what happens when you get me talking. Then
Yeah. So question was like, what inspired you to like take over? And
yeah,
what I understood is it is your attempt to save the Laravel certification. That is what I understood.
yeah.
So what you
First of
changed?
all, was to save it, and second is to bring back the value it once had for everyone
Yeah.
involved, and maybe even at some stage be the go-to or the official certification program. But you know, we need to prove that, and we will do that together with the community, that we can create that value.
So what things you changed immediately, or maybe like after taking over the Laravel certification?
That's a good question. A lot, but we started at the basis. When I took over, the exam software they used was something they built themselves, full of bugs. It was 7 years old, never updated. So we went to a cloud-based exam software, which is also used by universities and schools all over the world. Very user-friendly. Also from an admin side, easy to upload questions, to manage the questions. When I took over, there was one level of exam, and there were, in the question bank for that exam, there were 60 questions. And maybe you know or you don't know, but an exam takes 45 minutes. Sorry, takes 1 hour. We ask 45 questions, and you need to have 75% correct in order to pass. So if you have a question bank of 60 questions, that is way too limited. So we changed a couple of things. First of all, the basics. So new platform. Then with the help of some Laravel developer friends in the community, we created tons of questions for the one exam that was there, the senior level exam. At the moment, we're at a question bank of 1,000 plus questions that we obviously change, roulette, so that nobody gets the same exam twice,
Yeah.
I would say. And that's still a work in progress. We're adding more and more questions every week. One of the other very important steps we took is we went from 1 level of exam to 3 levels, because there's no, if you are a Laravel developer, you're in your learning journey, so to say, you start from being a novice, student level developer. Then you perhaps have 1 or 2 years of experience. You call yourself a meteor or a junior. And then after 3 years, you really feel confident that you are completely grasped everything that's there to learn about Laravel. Then you will be able to call yourself a senior. So we've created 3 levels: student, really for people coming out of school, no real practical coding experience, but really the theoretical knowledge, so to say. So that exam is really based on theoretical questions. Then we have the junior level exam, which is, like I said, a couple of years of practical coding experience, where the questions are obviously more difficult, but where we mix pure theory with code-based questions. So you have to be able to read code and understand what's there in order to answer the question. And the senior level exam is almost 100% code-based questions, longer code snippets, more intricate, more difficult parts of the Laravel documentation that are being addressed there. Besides having those 3 levels of exams, we've also created, which was not the case practice exams for each of these levels, because you want to practice before you take the real thing. And that's how you do in your driver's license. In school, you do practice exams before you go for the real thing. So we've created a student level practice, junior and senior level practice exam. Yeah, that was really the basic changes that we made. Other changes we made was, obviously, if people pass the exam, you want to give them a certificate or something that they can showcase that they've passed. What we've done is we've created, similar to what AWS and Microsoft do in their certification programs, badges. So you can earn badges that you can showcase on LinkedIn or on your website or your email autograph, representing the level that you've passed. We also moved everything to an online credentialing platform, which enables us to give everyone a link and a QR code. And if people go to that link or scan that QR code, they will go to their online certificate, which is verifiable. There's a button there where you can click verify, and then the system will verify if that person is indeed a verified developer. And that's done on the blockchain, so it's immutable. Once it's there for life. And like I said before, we've also invited everyone that's passed in the past to move to that new credentialing platform on our expense. And I think we've already moved over 2,500 developers to the new credentialing platform that have passed in So I think those are the most important basic changes that we did right from the beginning in the first few months, because when the old owners decided that they wanted to hand over the certification program to me, it was in August. I was about to go on vacation, but I worked my entire vacation. My wife said, "When are you coming out?" I said, "No, I have to fix this first because this is important." And I'm glad that I did it, because we made some really exciting, let's say, quality changes right from the start. Some of the other things that we changed straight away, because as I mentioned, I'm not a developer. So I'm not the person that has to make the questions and so on. So we did two things. We established an exam committee and we established a board of advisors. The exam committee is responsible for, in the beginning, for creating those questions that we use in the exam, but also reviewing the existing questions that we had to make sure they're at the right level, junior, student, senior, but also the quality that we want. We want to be as close to practical use as possible. And the board of advisors, people from both the exam committee and the board of advisors, are senior level people from the Laravel community, familiar names, everybody knows, that are involved and that check what we are doing. Every step we take first goes through the board of advisors, which is at the moment, I think, different people from all over the world, because we're a global certification, so we want representation from all over the world. By the way, we're still looking for people from Australia and South America to get on board of the certification program, whether it be exam committee or board, because the use of Laravel changes wherever you are in the world as well, the application. So we like to have perspectives from everyone. Yeah, who is on the board? For example, Vishal from Laracon India, from VitaCloud, is on the board. Shruti Balaza, the LinkedIn Learning, to just name two Indian-based representatives. We have Daniel News from the UK. Ashley Allen from the UK is on the board, is on the exam committee. We have the founder of the Dutch Laravel Foundation on the board. We have Casper Hartwig, the organizer for Laravel Live Denmark, is on the board. So people that have been in the community, and the same goes for the exam committee members in the community for a long time, that really understand what the community wants and needs. And I follow their direction. I'm just the guy making sure it happens, so to say.
Yeah. So, what is the current structure of Laravel certification and how community-driven certification benefits to Laravel community?
Yeah, community-driven is obviously a very nice word. It's community-driven, but what does it really mean? Well, in our sense, it means everything, because as I mentioned, we are dependent on the community to what we did 3 months ago together with my good friend Percy Mamedi from Mauritius, who is also on the exam committee, and he was reviewing and making these questions. He said, this system is too, we need a tool to be able to manage the influx of questions from the community and the reviewing of the questions. We need a better system. And I said, well, what do you suggest? I said, well, I'm going to build one in Laravel with Filament. And so we built what we call the Nexio app, which is an app where anyone and everyone who wants to contribute to adding questions to the certification program can be connected to the Nexio app, where they can submit their questions. Our exam committee members and reviewers, such as yourself, Punyapo, review those questions and either decline, ask for improvements, or approve those questions. And once a minimum of 2 of the exam reviewers, committee members, have agreed that this is a good question, then only then will this question be approved. So it needs 2 positive yeses, so to say. So we're including a lot of the community members. We're inviting them to submit questions. Another part of the community is reviewing those questions. So what else are we doing? We are actively seeking out all communities, Laravel meetups, to partner with them and not only share the story, but also support them in a way that they can raffle off exam vouchers, give out practice exams. We want to showcase that we've made some changes. So we've been able to partner with a number of Laravel communities already. Laravel Cameroon, Laravel Switzerland, Laravel Greece, Italy, the Netherlands, Denmark, and we are expanding that reach on a day-to-day basis. We want to work with the world and get everyone involved and give their 2 cents. So community-driven really means that not only are we including people in the community to join us and to help, but also we giving back to the community by sponsoring meetups, by sponsoring. There's a lot of people out there in the world struggling at the moment. It's not always good economic times. So we get lots of people asking, is there a way that you could sponsor me or you can help me? So we've set up the Equal Opportunity Program. The idea is that we ask companies to sponsor other people to take the exams. At the moment, I'm sponsoring them. We can't sponsor everyone, obviously, but we're doing 3 to 5 exam vouchers per week. We give away for free to people who need it, have economic circumstances that we will not be jealous of, who need it. We're not promoting it because we don't want to promote somebody else's struggles, but we are doing it, and that's our way of giving back. We're going to do the same, for example, with Laravel, to work on stimulating diversity and women in tech, because they're still very much a minority in our community. So yeah, these things will develop over time, but we've already made steps and we want to expand on that, really giving back to Laravel community as a whole.
Yeah, it's really a good, structure we are following. The community is creating questions, community is reviewing the questions, and community is, giving the exams, right?
Yeah.
So before moving ahead, we have 2 comments which I want to show. So one of them is from the Javir Chawda, who is saying that I'm referring Newton job if you want someone from South Africa. Right. Yeah.
I don't quite understand what Newton job means, but I think he refers to my calling for people to join the community from other parts of the world. Please contact me over on the website certificationforlaravel.com. I'm there. Send me a message. Happy to have a chat and to include you in our plans and in our endeavors. We need help. There's still a lot of work to be done, so the more the merrier.
Yeah. So Newton job is the name of the day from the South Africa. And one of the comment is from the Mihail, I guess, which is thanks for that. Whether from people from Ukraine have been certified?
Yes, a lot. And also in support of the people of Ukraine, we have a special offer for everyone from the Ukraine to get certified at a very, very low base price, because we want to assist them in their struggle as a country. Also, we have not touched on it yet, but we also have a certified company. You can certify yourself as a developer, but you can also certify yourself as a company, meaning that as a company, you'll have a profile on the page, and you have the opportunity to buy exam vouchers at a discounted rate. I will be developing some other tools later this year, but for Ukrainian companies, and the requirement is for a certified company that you have to have at least 1 certified developer employed, preferably more. And in the future, we'll say, no, you need to have at least 10% of your Laravel developers need to be certified in order to be a certified company. For companies in the Ukraine, normally that's a paid feature for companies, but for companies in the Ukraine, it's for free, because we want to help them showcase their expertise. There's a lot of incredibly talented, smart techies and developers in Ukraine who have, in some cases, had to move away from Ukraine and are now based in Poland or in Germany for obvious reasons. But we are doing Again, we're not advertising it because I don't think that's, how do you say, very chic. But we love to support people in all areas where there's war-torn areas. We want to help them and support their endeavors business-wise.
Yeah.
So reach out to me and I'll take care of you if you're in the Ukraine.
Yeah. It is this like it was the similar to my next question, which is who should take certification for Laravel, or what is your target audience? I mean,
That's a good question because that's very often a point of discussion. Senior developers with a certain amount of experience always tell me, "Oh, I don't need it," which is probably true. If you have enough experience, you have a large repo with lots of projects that you've been involved in, and you can showcase your expertise. And yes, indeed, then it's not so important to showcase a certification exam. Who are we targeting? I would say two types of companies or companies. The first is the CEO or the CTO of software agencies or agencies developing with Laravel. They would obviously like to have their developers certified because then they can showcase the end user, the person paying for the new app or the new website, that there is knowledge in the company that has been tested, similar to many other certifications. We see that there's real value there for, let's say, lead generation and sales. And if you do international tenders with governments, very often it is a requirement that you can showcase that you are certified. That's one. And the other is that any developer that whether you're employed or whether you're a freelancer, because there's obviously lots of freelancers as well, if you want to benchmark your skills, yes, it is valuable. If you want to showcase your expertise, yes, it's valuable. Will it guarantee a new job? I don't know. In some cases it might, in some cases it might not. But like a diploma in the university or in the college, it does not hurt. It's a testament to your knowledge. It's a one-time investment in your career. As we all know, learning on a continuous basis is extremely important, especially in a fast-paced environment that we are in, with things changing on a daily basis. I don't think it's a bad thing to showcase that you're up to date to your knowledge with Laravel. But everybody makes that decision on its own. Some people will say, no, in my entire career, nobody's ever asked me about a certification. Fair enough. But we are going to be expanding our reach and making a lot of noise. And this will change in the future, I hope. That lots of employers and lots of end users will say, hey, are you certified? Because for us, that's important. And with the help of the community, that will happen. And next week, for example, I have and this is one of the signs that what we're doing is making waves, is making changes. Next week, I have a meeting with an organization, a school, 38 schools, who have 24,000 students, of which 9,000 are software development students. And we are going to add the student level exam to their curriculum. So these students, when they finish the PHP module, including Laravel, at the end, they do the student level certification exam. That's 9,000 potential students per year doing the exam, getting acquainted with the certification for Laravel brand and what we do. So change is already there, and hopefully with the help of the community, we can oil stain, make sure that everyone in the world sees that it has value. But in the end, everybody has to make that decision on its own.
yeah,
We're not forcing anyone. We're not telling anyone, you have to do this. No, you have to see the value yourself.
right. So a lot of question I get when I post about certification or something on my social media, or maybe I share someone. So where should they find the syllabus for the exam?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a work in progress, and it's a very good question. On our website, on certificationforlaravel.com, if you go to the frequently asked questions, we've listed the topics that we are quizzing, that we are testing, with direct links to the Laravel documentation. But that's a lot. That's a lot of information. What we are currently doing, and one of the biggest changes that we've done in last month, is we've launched the new website. Have a look. It's completely new. It's the last little piece from the old owners that we were able to get rid of. So now we have our own new website where we have much more information and much more capabilities of sharing information with the world. One of the pages is the educator page. And this is something that will be more developed over time. But what we want to do there is, we want to showcase people that share share knowledge on the internet, whether it's content, whether it's code snippets, whether it's learnings, whatever, we're going to showcase them there. But what we'll do as well, and this is something we're already actively pursuing, is we will list everyone that creates course or training specifically for Laravel, and hopefully for those 3 levels that we have, we will showcase them there so that you can, if you want to prepare for the junior exam, you go to this educator or this platform and you can take the training course and then take the exam following this. And what we're trying to achieve is to work with local partners, because developing trainings is a lot of work. It needs to be maintained constantly. So it's not something that we want to do ourselves. We don't have the bandwidth, but we really want to partner with people and companies that already offer these kind of trainings, preferably in the native language. So we're currently talking to some companies in Italy, in Greece, in Poland, Ukraine. Obviously, those are 2 different countries and languages, but the same company works in Poland and in the Ukraine and is developing trainings for both languages. We are going to launch, together with Byte 5 from Germany, a German junior and senior course. And at the end, you do the exam. So that is probably one of the biggest challenges that we have, is how do you prepare people for the exam? Because I get that question a lot. Do you have a training or a course? What I do now is I refer people to YouTube, because there's lots of content there. I refer them to Laracasts. I refer them to Code Course, all these different Laravel Daily from Povilas. There is already so much knowledge out there out in the internet. It would make absolutely no sense for us to be one more of those, rather work together with other parties to facilitate this. So another invitation, if you are a training or course creator, contact me. I'd love to showcase you on the platform and refer students to your courses or trainings to help them succeed and pass the certification exam.
Yeah. So, what are the challenges you faced after acquiring the certification for Laravel?
Well, except for the obvious fact that it was a complete mess and we had to do everything all over again. I think our biggest challenge is still the fact that a lot of people have this bad memory from the situation. And I know that there's lots of people who purchased an exam voucher in the past who didn't get the exam link, who didn't get their money back. It was a real mess. So let's say the bad vibes on the old certification program, yeah, that's still something that we need to deal with on a day-to-day basis, even though we have nothing to do with them. The only thing we took over is the name, quite simply. Everything else has been changed. And that's probably my biggest challenge, convincing people that it really is a completely different company and that we have nothing to do with what had happened in the past. Even people coming to me after 2 years saying, hey, I have this voucher. I've never been able to take the exam. If we can help you, we will help you. Yeah, we want to show that we are really on the up and up and that we're here to stay, quite simply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think most of the questions are already answered. So, let's talk about the future now. I mean, you already talked about the past very well. So, what is the plan for future, or we can say the year 2025?
Yeah, I think the biggest plan is to obviously keep expanding on what we are doing at the moment. So we need more good questions. We need more partners, communities to work with. We need more educators. But what else are we doing? We are planning to launch another exam tier called the artisan level exam, which will be a live coding or live coding challenges. So really practical, hands-on, get your fingers dirty on the keyboard coding challenge. We're talking about this. We have ideas about this. Our biggest challenge there is, with the rise of AI, is how are we going to be monitoring and ensuring that vibe coding is fine, is a lot of fun, and developers tell me you can see if it's done by AI or if it's done by a human, and you can see the difference. But developments will progress, and that gap will become smaller, and we want to create something which is which we can use for future reference as well. I still feel
Right.
that if you want to cheat, you cheat. You know, there's always a way to cheat. If you do a certification exam, you do it for yourself. You want to prove to yourself that you can do it. And cheating is, well, if we find out you cheat, you obviously are cancelled and your exam is your credentials are withdrawn. But still, for a live coding challenge, that is a challenge to find not only an environment or a tool which could facilitate this. So we're currently looking at how could we do it. Maybe we should develop something ourselves. And if anyone in the community has ideas or wants to help us build this, again, contact me, because I think there's a real value in being able to test and train. Another thing we're going to develop, and this will happen shortly, is recruitment tests. We get a lot of questions from company owners and agency owners saying, hey, when I'm recruiting a Laravel developer, I would love to give them something like the certification exam, but perhaps not certify them, but be able to test them and get a report to know where are these strengths and weaknesses of this candidate, so I can compare candidates and select the right person, so to say. So the first thing we'll be launching in the next few months is the senior level recruitment test. So for companies hiring developers, certified companies will get free access to these tests in the beginning to test it. That's something we are going to do shortly. What else are we going to do? Well, there's a lot of things on the wish list, but we're already in June and the year is flying by. One of the things I would love to organize is a worldwide hackathon for Laravel developers. Another one of the things that I would love to do is be more physically present at local meetups. At the moment, every single dollar we make is being reinvested in the certification program. So there's no money left to either pay myself or anyone else yet, but doesn't matter. We're investing in reestablishing the certification program. And yeah, we've got lots of ideas when it comes to stimulating the growth and the, let's say, stimulating young or helping young developers become those artisan level developers that everyone wants to be. So we are actively seeking out opportunities to work with universities and with companies that work with Laravel to offer traineeships, to offer mentorships, to offer them the certification, obviously, but also perhaps guest lecturers. How fun would it be if a school in the Netherlands has somebody from India doing a lecture or a week-long lecture on Laravel? I think that cross-exposure is something that the community, I think, would perceive as a lot of fun for everyone involved, but also I think it's good for the knowledge. And obviously you can do that all online, but in real person, in life is always more fun to ask questions and to do this. So lots of plans, but the main plan for this year is to really invest in the quality of the program, to keep investing and make the question banks bigger, because for the practice exams, the regular exams, the recruitment tests, every single test needs to have their own question bank without any overlap of questions in other exams, unique sets.
Yeah.
And we will need a lot more questions to be able to do that. Yeah.
Right. So even I am also getting some questions like, we'll be able to pay in our local prices, and we will have like PPP pricing for our country.
Yeah, we've managed to find a system where we can do two things. First of all, if you're in India or in another country, sometimes it's more difficult to pay in US dollars or another currency. You need to pay in your own currency. We can facilitate this. So we can make sure you can buy the voucher in your own local currency. It doesn't work for every country, but for India, for example, it does. We can create a link where you can purchase it in rupees. So if you are looking for this, again, just reach out through the website. We're very quick to respond. Within 12 hours, you'll have a reply, and probably much sooner, but I do need some sleep every now and then, so then the replies are a bit later. So we can do it in local currency, but what we also have is parity pricing. And what parity pricing means is that we have a list of every country in the world where we know what let's say the gross national product is, what the economic wealth of a company and the average salary of a person in that country is. And we are adapting our pricing. So the pricing that we have on the website is, let's say, the Western European rich country pricing. If you are in a different part of the world, where the economic circumstances are different, we either give you a 25 or a 50% discount on this pricing. So, for example, in Bangladesh or in the Philippines or in Africa, you will receive a 50% discount on the prices that are on the website. There's a button on every single exam voucher, request economic discount. If you click that, you can request a discount where you will get an email with a code that you can use to purchase any product at the discounted rate. 25% discount is for some countries in Middle America and in South America, some Eastern European countries, for example. When in doubt, just shoot us a message. You never know. You could be getting a discount. We also do regular raffles. We do regular special offers and I think we're launching one next week for the upgrade exam. So for existing developers, if they do want to challenge themselves and do it again, we offer them to a special discount to retake the exam. They will not lose their existing certification, but for $99, and for India it will be half, for example, you can upgrade your certification. That's the special we're running next week for 2 weeks. But we very often also do a special where if you buy an exam voucher, you will get a free practice exam. And just maybe it's good information as well. If you do buy a certification voucher, you can take the exam within a period of 12 months. The voucher will stay valid for 12 months. So you don't have to buy the voucher and instantly take the exam. You can wait, prepare yourself, train yourself, and or activate the link that you receive within 12 months and take the exam. Once you activate the link, then you have 1 hour to finish the exam. But yeah, so making use of these special offers or deals, don't be afraid. You can buy them now and take the exam in 6 months if you want. It will still be valid. Yeah.
Okay. So my last question is like, what you wanna like give a advice or something, like you want to say something that which are not thinking that, I mean, which are having a bad vibes for the Laravel certification.
Have a look at the website, reach out to me or to one of my colleagues. Let me know what you think, what you feel. If it is within our purview to help you or change your mindset, we will certainly strive to do so. Yes, we cannot give everyone a free exam. That's not possible. We have to stay reasonable. But if we can help, we will help. And
Yeah.
I understand, we've all been in a situation, especially when you purchase something online where you don't get your product or whatever. It is frustrating as
Yeah.
money doesn't grow on trees. You work hard to get that money. And if you don't get what you buy, then yes, I can understand you're a bit angry and disgruntled. But it's not us, we've only taken over, but we have this as an inheritance. And if we want to rebuild the brand, we are very aware that we need to keep communicating that there's a new sheriff in town and that we want to do things the way they should be done. And if we can help in any which way, reach out and we will try and help you.
Yeah. So thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for joining Jasper. It was a great interview. So we get to know about Laravel certification a lot, and thanks for saving the Laravel certification.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell this to the world. And yeah, great stuff. I hope everybody's got all the information they needed. And if not, again, reach out. We're here.
Yeah. So thanks for joining,
Cool.
guys. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.